been able to come back home, SEC opener. Where do you feel like your team is? Is health probably still the biggest question for you heading into this one?
Yeah, and even when you get some guys back, like Cole Foster coming back, but it's still a little slow coming back. It doesn't mean somebody's going to be mid-season form. They might have to play into it for a few days. Hope not, but you have to be prepared for that. I think there's a chance we get some guys back, like Pierce, McMurray. Will they be on the 27-man roster? I hope so. We played 9 and 11 days and then took a trip, been on the road, to Arkansas, and then coming right back in 48 hours playing in Montgomery. And then this has been an early series. So, there's been a lot of playing and traveling here for this ball club. But the batting practice, Pierce might be DH instead of being in the outfield first time back. Same with McMurray. But I'd love to have those two back on the 27-man roster. We think that would help us eventually. I think I was just sitting around the table talking that usually I'm a pretty patient type guy and stay on a process, and really have tried to do that with this team with so many young pieces. It's a challenge sometimes with a ton of young pieces, but there's a positive back end to that where now we're getting some young players that are huge pieces of our future that are already getting great experiences, like playing on the road in one of the toughest places to play in the country, etc. But we'd like to have what we think is our best team together to move forward. So no excuses. Getting some guys back will be huge. I think it's probably important for me to go ahead and mention, because I haven't given an update, and our fans and you guys have been so patient with like a Joseph Gonzalez, because we anticipated and was hopeful that he would pitch in Arkansas. When that didn't happen, I just felt like we're yo-yoing back and forth. So just ask the best doctor in the world to sit down with him face to face, and so we're probably going to take a few more weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks. Joseph still feels something when he's in full external. When he cranks it up to full speed, still feels a little bit. So the positive news with Joseph is we don't think there's any surgery on the horizon or in his future for what he's experiencing now, but we think it's going to cost us a few more weeks to try to get this last thing knocked out. So did get to speak to Dr. Andrews today. So I think we'll get some guys back, but the Joseph prognosis, we probably won't have anything else for 6 weeks, and then we'll see where Joseph's at, number one, where the team's at, but at least we have some clarity. We've been yo-yoing back and forth with this, and so to put that to bed and give everybody an update, I think that's where we're at from a health standpoint, and I just think we're going to know more week 2. We're not used to looking or seeing with 2+ decades of experience where you had 5 sweeps on a first weekend. So I usually say, man, 4 or 5 weeks, let this thing shake out. There's different rhythms for clubs. I think this is going to tell us a lot. We're seeing maybe somebody who just played, having to go on the road, just looking around at the matchups, and now us in Georgia kind of in that same boat, and we're playing each other. I think this second week is going to tell us a lot about where we're headed and what's going on. So, but we still have to stay in the process. If you do these certain things, that equals results. So our straight lines is continuing to try to have big innings and to pitch better, etc. Keep fighting for base runners, all these things that we've tried to build this team with. That's our process. That's what we can control. We went 0 for 9 in the series in that last weekend, so that makes it really tough in any of the phases. So hopefully we'll do better at that. If we can stay on the process, have better results this weekend. But I think this is a huge week for everybody in the conference.
Pitching plan still the same with Vail, Crotchville, TBA, and then kind of filling the gaps?
Close. We're just going to split that second day. I want Crotchville to stay on. He threw last Saturday. I want him to stay on that as a young pitcher. He wound up powering through. We liked his 3rd and 4th innings. He got set, but he got to full, just over 80 pitches, I think. So we're going to go Vail, TBA, Crotchville for this series and see what we expend in game 1, and maybe just those first 4 or 5 at bats, maybe see who could be potentially the best matchup and get a gut feel for that. So, but it's really, we think Vail is ready to go because he threw 63 pitches. So shorten him a day, we're not as concerned with being a veteran. So we'll get Vail out there His first 3 innings were really good. Can we carry that through and power through and create a great start like he did against UAB? We'd love to see that. And then what do we use? What do we have to use behind Vail if we can stay competitive in game 1? We'll figure out and let the dust settle and come up with somebody to get us started on game 2 on Friday, and keep Crotchfeld in that normal cycle, because somebody young like him, you give him full recovery, but you're giving him an opportunity to keep practicing and developing between starts. And when you start shorting guys a day, you start losing that for a young pitcher. So I think that's why we're going to put the TBA in the middle instead of at the end.
Will Cannon, he threw 2 innings and then 4 innings or more. Are you stretching him out for a purpose, or is that just the way he's pitching well? And could you talk about how well he pitched last week?
I think pitching well is a good way to start the conversation. It's 3 pitches, change up, a slider, a fastball, so that allows you to flip a lineup more. I just think he's a developing guy. During the little stretch we've had, it's like, you're going to keep a guy that might be one of your 5 best pitchers, and you're going to keep him back there as a closer. But if you can't get to him, then start using him. And I thought that was really good for him to stretch his legs against Arkansas. I'm impressed. I do think he's one of our 5 best pitchers that we have right now. So, and Coach Rock's done a great job with him. Will's done a great job being there, ready to go. As a head coach, I got to do a good job. If it's one of our top 5 pitchers, how do I create an opportunity for him to pitch at game time? And like I said, with 3 pitches, and I thought Blake Burkhalter really developed into that. He used a changeup. He used all 3 pitches. There's just the traditional closer in college baseball is just turning into a unicorn. These things are competitive moment guys, and if somebody can give you 3 or 4 innings and they're one of your best guys, we got to find a way to use them. And I think he could start. I think he could be a guy that could start that game. But I got a feeling that we're going to try to find a competitive moment for one of our best pitchers to pitch is probably what I'm thinking in regards to Will Cannon for this weekend.
And Gavin Miller, it seems like he's getting more and more playing time. Talk about his progression, please.
Yeah, I just think it's going to really benefit our program. Are there moments for him, Stanfield? Yeah. But I think you can see it to where, like, man, these guys are going to be really, really good players. And this is only speeding that process up by the experiences that they're getting right now. So we think he can stand in and have an at-bat. And I think he's slowly proving that. I hope he's gaining some confidence from that. A couple of plays he'd like to have back. We wound up doing defensive replacement last night, but he'll continue to grow in that spot. So I think our coaches are knowing more and more how to use him, and I think he's somebody that we're all high on as an everyday player, and this is only going to help his career and his Auburn career to get all this playing time early. I know it's last night and we're trying to get into this series, but it was imperative, even if it looked rough at the end or whatever, for Drew Nelson and Hayden Murphy to get us into the 7th inning with 2 freshmen to help us set up for our pitching. That was huge. So there's a couple of more guys, even though they're pitchers instead of position players, and they're learning by fire. And I'm not sure that's how we drew it up as coaches with these guys, but that's where we are. And now 5 weeks into it, Drew Nelson getting 4 innings and 1 hit and learning and growing and gaining some confidence. We tried to start him opening weekend, and he stayed in it, did a nice job in Arkansas, and then got us off to a good start. I like seeing that growth out of all these young guys, so I'm just taking the Miller example and spreading it around. We got a lot of young guys playing right now, and it will be to the program's benefit moving forward.
Is Drew a guy that could eventually wind up back on the weekend again, especially with Joseph Gonzalez?
Yeah, I think so. We tried Connor Copeland in that spot last week, and it was competitive. I think we lost a 5-0 ball game. It's not like we got totally blasted. We just offensively, you score 5 weekends on the road in the SEC, good luck. So we know we have to do more with all of where our phases are at. But I just want to see us punch back more. I wasn't disappointed in us not winning per se. I just the resiliency, the ability to punch back must be there. This is SEC baseball. You're going to get punched in the mouth. It's the ability to be able to punch back and really, as we outlined it, being able to perform and throw punches at game time is critical. So that's a delicate balance there, and that's why I'd like to see another weekend to learn more and see more and maybe get a better gauge on where we're at. But I believe we can have success now, even though I'm talking about young players that maybe wouldn't have been playing if this guy or that guy was back in the lineup. This is good and tough and hard, like every year I've ever been a part of this league. So this team just needs to understand that, embrace it really, and really just, we overuse the stay in the fight. That's kind of our deal. But you got to be in the ring and you got to throw some back. It's not just cover up and take punches. This league's built around your ability to throw punches back. That's what I want to see out of our ball club this weekend.
Good.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.